I think there were various things about her sexual life which I dropped out on the grounds of privacy laws in Britain.
That's not very sexy. There's no real. How do you tell this story?
I loved watching people get excited about that when they'd see it.
She can do it twice.
No.
Ooh, in the time I do it once.
Oh.
And she's not even sweating. And I'm like drenched in sweat.
You're glistening. You're just glistening.
I'm glistening. I'm glowing.
Glowing. She was,
I'm
yeah, she was
glowing.
all blown up.
Things you've been working so hard on, and your husband just shared publicly. I don't miss that part of it.
Oh, this is like trying to like.
It's wild. Thank you for trusting me.
I'm gonna come.
A doctor has come forward. She has absolutely revealed and confirmed that Meghan Markle was never pregnant, never gave birth to any children.
Oh my God, I have got to get you intoxicated, Tom Bauer. I would love to hear those stories.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I think I've forgotten them.
Oh no!
But they were very good.
This scandal comes as no surprise. Speculation about the children has been simmering for years.
I'm going to quote Tom Bauer by saying, he said, look, we all laughed at Samantha and she was right. And everything she said has come true.
Not in a million years did Meghan think that she was going to score Prince Harry. She thought she was going to score Andrew until Fergie put a stop to it.
She's reinvented herself so many times throughout the last 44 years.
It could be also happening that the royal family is saying, hey, if you put a book out about Meghan Markle and completely destroy everything and really tell the people how Meghan met Harry.
You can feel it, can't you? The vibe has shifted. For a long time, there was this protective bubble around Montecito, a sort of force field made of PR, expensive lawyers, and the general public's fear of being called mean or racist if they asked the wrong questions. But that bubble, it's not just leaking, it's popping.
The privacy laws are pretty strong here, and that's what she used as a weapon at the time. So there were quite a few things about her personal life. I'll work them into another book, I think.
Oh my goodness, Tom Bauer. I love that deep tease right there. That's something that we can look forward to.
If you've been following the royal saga, you know the name Tom Bauer. He's the guy who wrote Revenge. And when that book came out, everyone treated it like the final word, the nuclear option. People called it. But I've been digging into what's happening behind the scenes, and the chatter I'm hearing is very different. It turns out Revenge wasn't the main event. It was the prologue.
One of the big things at that time was sensitivity reading. There was a great fear that she would play the race card. And so, for example, there were great arguments about whether you could call her strong-willed or not, because she at the time was playing herself as a black woman, and black women, if they're strong-willed, that's seen to be a stereotype. I think that would now not occur.
Bauer has been making the rounds, dropping hints that are frankly making people nervous. He's essentially saying that the first book was the safe version, the version that could get past the libel lawyers in London, the version that had to leave out the really damaging stuff because witnesses were too scared to go on the record or NDAs were still locked tight.
Well, the answer is, unfortunately, that was one of the revelations, or many revelations, in my forthcoming book, which I had heard about this months and months ago.
But things have changed. We're hearing reports that Tom Bauer is getting ready to release the rest of the file, the uncut version. And this time, he's not dealing with a duchess who is at the peak of her power. He's dealing with a brand that is, let's be honest, circling the drain.
Talk to Andrew Morton, talk to Tom Bauer. All of these people that have written books about her have been like, it's a struggle to get to the truth of who this female was before she meets Prince Harry.
We have to talk about what's actually in these missing chapters. We're talking about the DL rumors that have been whispered about on forums for years but never printed. We're talking about the missing years in Soho House. We're talking about the people who were paid to disappear. So grab a drink and settle in, because today we aren't just looking at a book release. We are looking at the potential dismantling of the most carefully curated image in Hollywood history.
I know that publishers love chopping up well-researched books, without any hesitation about you're sitting there going, no, this is so important, but sometimes it's just about, shrinking a book down.
Let's start with the context, because you have to understand why the second book is dangerous in a way the first one wasn't. When Revenge was written, Meghan was still swinging big. She had the Spotify deal, she had Netflix, she was firing off lawsuits like they were press releases. People were terrified of her. If you were a former staffer or an old friend from her acting days, you kept your mouth shut. Why risk it?
But she had one amazing ability, which was to find a man who needed her.
Oh.
And she played him brilliantly. The actress was sensational.
Tom Bauer is a veteran. He knows how the UK libel laws work, and trust me, they are brutal for writers. In the UK, The burden of proof is on the author. If Bauer wrote something in revenge that he couldn't prove 100% in a court of law, the publisher would cut it. Entire chapters were reportedly shredded, not because they were lies, but because they were legally risky.
You've got to remember, it was a pathfinder, the book, and even the publishers couldn't quite believe some of the things which I discovered.
Bauer has admitted this. He said in interviews that he had to leave the really good stuff on the cutting room floor. But here's the twist. The fear is gone. I'm seeing a massive shift in how people in the industry talk about the Sussexes. 2 years ago, if you brought them up in a meeting, people would get awkward. Now, they roll their eyes. The fear factor has evaporated, and when the fear goes, the silence goes with it.
To tell the truth, I spoke to very few friends of Meghan because she put a fatwa on anyone talking to me who she could. So I sent off dozens and dozens of emails to her friends, and most of them didn't even reply.
NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, are only as strong as the person enforcing them, and they often have time limits. We are hitting the 5-year mark since Megxit. A lot of those initial contracts are expiring, and the people who signed them, they aren't loyal anymore. In fact, many of them are angry. Bauer knows this. He's not writing a biography this time. He's compiling a dossier. He's reportedly going back to the sources who were too scared to talk in 2022 and saying, how about now? And the answer he's getting is, let's talk.
She targeted him. She knew exactly what you were doing. He was a vulnerable man whose relationships with women had been disastrous, manic depressive very often, and she fulfilled his need. She gave him what he needed, and she played it brilliantly. She never intended to stay. She's got what she wanted now. Vast mansion, few million, all the rest of it.
The rumor is that Bauer is no longer tiptoeing. He's walking in with steel-toed boots. He's looking at the bullying report that the palace buried. He's looking at the inconsistencies in the suicidal narrative. He's looking at everything that didn't make the first cut.
She's impossible, says one ex-staffer. Every headline, every comma, Meghan has to approve it. Push back and you're gone.
Let's stay on that bullying report for a second, because this is the smoking gun the palace has been sitting on. Remember when the story broke about Meghan allegedly bullying staff? The emails from Jason Knauf, the PR secretary, claiming she was driving 2 PAs out of the household and undermining the confidence of a third, it was explosive.
There's a whole story about her attitude to people she works with. And there was two agents who told horrible stories about her bullying and her oppression. I came across with the impression of a woman who is very intelligent, very determined, very ambitious, but also ruthless. And in the end, in her terms, successful.
The palace launched an investigation, paid an outside firm to interview everyone, and then nothing. They buried the report. They called it internal HR matters and refused to release the findings. At the time, everyone thought the palace was protecting themselves. But looking back, it seems more like they were protecting Meghan, or at least trying to keep the peace to avoid a total war with California. But Bauer doesn't care about keeping the peace. Insiders suggest that this new book is going to blow the lid off that investigation.
She's a divisive figure, and she's a controversial figure. And that's what the book addresses. It is all about a woman who in the end wanted to be the center of the storm, and she created her own storm. And she didn't understand hierarchy. And she thought that the monarchy was like Hollywood. It's all about celebrity, and in fact it's about hard work with a little reward, and she didn't like that.
We aren't just talking about difficult emails sent at 5 a.m. We're talking about alleged behavior that was described by some staff as psychodrama, screaming matches, people being reduced to tears at their desks, the kind of toxic workplace environment that in any other corporate setting would get you fired immediately. The narrative Meghan has sold, the feminist, the compassionate leader, cannot survive if these stories come out in detail. You can't preach kindness on a podcast and then be exposed for humiliating junior staffers because the wrong shade of blankets arrived. And here's the kicker. The staff want to talk. They've watched Meghan go on Oprah, go on Netflix, and paint herself as the victim of a cold, unfeeling institution. Meanwhile, these staffers are sitting there thinking, I was the one crying in the bathroom, not you. If Bauer gives these people a voice, the victim card is voided. You can't be the victim if you were the bully.
Former employees share horror stories, midnight meltdowns, she'd call at 1 a.m, demanding rewrites, red carpet rage. She yelled that bad lighting made her look like a politician, not a princess, and a Paris PR disaster. She ignored warnings not to film near the Diana crash site, then blamed the team when backlash hit.
Okay, let's pivot to something darker, something that has always felt like a missing puzzle piece, the lost years. Before Harry, before the Suits fame peak, Meghan was hustling, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Every actor hustles. But there is a very specific chapter of her life that seems to have been scrubbed from the internet.
They were not poor. They just wanted to land a rich man and make easy money. And the worst part of it all is that Meghan Markle was already with Trevor Engelson there. She was already living with him. There was no need for her to be hustling this way.
I'm talking about the Soho House era. If you don't know Soho House, It's a members-only club. Very exclusive, very private. No photos allowed. It's where the elite go to be bad without getting caught. And at the center of Meghan's world in this era was a man named Marcus Anderson.
He is like a parasite, always lurking in their shadow. No normal family has a constant third wheel, male or female, leeching onto their every move. Marcus is practically glued to them.
Anderson is a fascinating figure. He's essentially the fixer for Soho House. He knows everyone, he connects people, and for years he was practically Meghan's shadow. He was there when she met Harry. He was there at the wedding. He's arguably the most important man in her life, yet you almost never hear his name in the mainstream press. Why?
Back in her early days, she was totally reliant on Soho House to pay for her travel, to pay for her accommodation.
Bauer is reportedly digging into this relationship with surgical precision. The questions are uncomfortable. How was a cable TV actress, who wasn't exactly an A-lister, living a jet-set lifestyle that far exceeded her paycheck? Who was paying for the travel? Who was making the introductions? There are rumors, and again, these are just rumors until Bauer prints the receipts that Meghan's role in this social circle was complicated.
She'd been a Deal or No Deal girl. She was calling herself a model, and she was starring in a show Suits. She used to charge almost $30,000 per trip, which is why she was making good money. It wasn't on Suits, it was on her yachting trips.
We've all heard the whispers about yachting. Now on the internet, that term has taken on a life of its own, often used to slut shame or create conspiracy theories. But strip away the nasty comments and you have a legitimate question. Was Meghan navigating high society circles as a social lubricant? Was she there to meet wealthy men? Was her climb orchestrated by Anderson?
Harry also knows Meghan was on Jeffrey Epstein's yacht with Prince Andrew.
Bauer is interested in the money. He's interested in the connections. He's looking at the timeline of when she met Harry and asking, was this a fairy tale or was it a setup? Did she bump into a prince by accident, or was she placed in his path by people who knew exactly what kind of woman Harry damaged, needy, looking for a savior would fall for? If Bauer can prove that the romance was actually a targeted acquisition, the entire love story collapses. And that love story is the only product they have left to sell.
Meghan just wants to be an Instagram influencer. That has always been her level, always been her drive. Once everything else has been dried up, the kids are next. The kids were always on the docket to be part of the image selling and everything.
All right, we have to go there. This is the big one. This is the third rail of royal reporting. The pregnancies. For years, if you even mentioned the word surrogacy in relation to Archie or Lilibet, you were labeled a lunatic. The press wouldn't touch it. The palace wouldn't touch it. It was treated as radioactive waste. But the internet never forgets. And the internet noticed things.
Oh my dear, look at Archie swing from side to side. It's actually torture to listen to that woman now, because every other word out of her mouth is a lie. None of it really makes sense.
They noticed the changing size of the bump. They noticed the squatting in heels. They noticed the lack of doctors signing off on the birth announcements, a standard royal protocol that was suddenly skipped. They noticed that no doctors have ever gone on record to say, yes, I delivered the baby. And now we have a name, DL. This is the rumor that is keeping PR teams up at night. There is a story circulating that a woman referred to as DL has come forward claiming to be the surrogate. And she isn't just telling stories. She's allegedly claiming she has paperwork.
Meghan, a geriatric mother. The family claims and states that Meghan had a hysterectomy. How can a woman with a hysterectomy be pregnant? And most of all, why did the royal family go along with this? And what's going to happen now that this has come out? This is a punishable crime. This is fraud in the highest levels.
According to these leaks, DL is describing a highly coordinated operation, clinic visits under pseudonyms, NDAs signed in triplicate, payments routed through offshore entities to keep the paper trail invisible. It sounds like a spy novel, right? But here is why it's sticky. Meghan's obsession with secrecy. When Archie was born, the secrecy was pathological. They refused to say where he was born. They refused to show the birth certificate for weeks. And when they did, it had been edited.
So she removed her names. That was done about 11 days after the baby was born. And that is incredibly shady because you have to have the names. All of the other royal birth certificates of all other royal babies, even the queens, they have her names on it. But Meghan Markle corrected it 11 days. So she's not even known as Rachel Meghan. It's like Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex.
The doctors weren't named. The whole thing was weird. If Bauer goes down this road, it is game over. I don't say that lightly. If it turns out that the children were born via surrogate and the public was misled, and more importantly, the line of succession was tampered with, that is a constitutional crisis. Royal rules are archaic, but they are strict. A child in the line of succession must be born of the body. If a surrogate was used, those kids might not technically be eligible for their titles.
But if she hasn't had the children herself, or Harry hadn't been involved, then they can't be in the royal line. They have to have royal blood, those little ones. Without that, there's no chance of them becoming a member of the royal family.
Now imagine the fallout. Meghan has built her entire current identity around motherhood, the mama branding on everything. If it comes out that she faked a pregnancy for the cameras, if she wore a prosthetic bump while accepting applause for being a pregnant icon, the public can forgive a lot of things. They can forgive greed. They can forgive rudeness. They cannot forgive being lied to on a biological level. It's visceral. Bauer is a forensic biographer. He doesn't print rumors, he prints what he can defend in court. If he includes the DL story or even hints at it strongly, it means he has seen something that convinced him. He's not going to risk his career on a message board conspiracy.
Anecdotal experience with my wife, who was very, very large during pregnancy. The idea of her moving like that would have been impossible. She just couldn't have done it. So, she was pale, she was swollen, she was very large at the time. The idea of her getting low like that, I just don't know if she physically could have done it. So it is shocking to me. It does look very strange.
If the children were born that way, it would mean that Archie and Lily were no longer to be allowed in the line of succession.
So if this is in the book, buckle up. Let's step back from the specific scandals for a moment and look at the psychology, because Bauer is great at analyzing the why. The tragedy of Meghan Markle, if you want to call it that, is that she tried to play a role she didn't understand. She wanted to be Diana 2.0.
In Meghan's mind, she is Diana.
Yes.
I mean, Diana Spencer is Meghan Spencer. And that was all part of her imagination that somehow she could inherit the glow of her dead mother-in-law. So I think that was another reason for Charles to say no.
She looked at the Princess of Wales and saw the adulation. She saw the magazine covers. She saw the global power, but she missed the most important part, the suffering. Diana was beloved not because she was stylish, though she was, but because she was vulnerable. She bled in public. Her pain was real. She didn't curate it, she survived it.
What Meghan never really understood, probably not even now, is that when she was cheered as a working royal, it wasn't because she was Meghan Markle, it was because she represented British royalty and all the values of the Queen and all the tradition and 1,000 years of history.
Meghan tried to reverse engineer that. She tried to brand suffering. Bauer points this out brilliantly. He talks about the split from reality. The moment Meghan started believing her own hype, she thought she could script her life like a Suits episode. Scene 1, the victim. Scene 2, the triumph. Scene 3, the global applause. But real life doesn't work like that.
The Australian trip turned their head in a crazy way, although she behaved appallingly during the trip. Yeah. But in Harry's view, this was his mother all over again.
After the Australia tour, something snapped. She started seeing herself as a revolutionary. But a revolution requires a cause, and her only cause was herself. Bauer's sources describe a woman who was obsessed with her own press, checking Google alerts at 2 a.m., screaming at staff if a headline wasn't flattering enough. It wasn't about service. It was about image control. And this is why the Diana cosplay failed.
But the idea that she was Diana was always a fantasy, both of herself and of Harry. And Harry completely misunderstood his mother, who he obviously barely knew, and didn't realize what a manipulative and determined woman she was herself.
You can wear the perfume, you can wear the watch, you can copy the outfits, but the public has a very good radar for authenticity. We know when someone is genuinely hurting, and we know when someone is checking their lighting before squeezing out a tear. Bauer is expected to detail this psychological unraveling, the paranoia, the feeling that the world was against her, when in reality the world was just bored of her. This brings us to the current state of affairs, which I'm sure the book will cover as the aftermath.
Meghan entered this world like it was a Hollywood set, assuming she could rewrite the script, center herself in every scene, and edit out anything that didn't fit her narrative.
The Sussex brand is in freefall. Remember the billion-dollar brand? Remember when experts said they would be the richest couple in Hollywood? Where is it? Spotify fired them and called them grifters. The Netflix deal is hanging by a thread. The Archetypes podcast was a flop. The 40 by 40 initiative, gone. The children's book, in the bargain bin. Hollywood has frozen them out, and this is what Bauer understands better than anyone.
Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
Right.
The Netflix series is over. There's no great podcast. They don't generate any money. And I don't see where she is going from here. I think she has a major problem.
Hollywood is a transactional town. They don't care if you're a royal. They care if you make money. Meghan and Harry are bad for business. They bring drama, they bring security headaches, and they don't deliver the numbers. The A-listers, the Clooneys, the Obamas, the Beyoncés have all quietly backed away. They see the toxicity. They see the way Meghan and Harry treated their families. If they did that to the Queen of England, what will they do to me if a deal goes south?
Meghan is using everything for publicity and not really truly there. We know how she treats her family and friends.
20 years ago, that woman would not be able to marry a working member of the British royal family. Even though she's an actress, even though she's playing a role, that is just beneath the British royal family.
Bauer's new book is going to document this freeze-out, the unreturned phone calls, the desperate attempts to get invites to the Met Gala or the Oscars, only to be snubbed. It's humiliating. And for a woman like Meghan, who thrives on validation, this is a fate worse than being hated. It's being irrelevant. The Victim Act has expired. You can't be a victim in a Montecito mansion forever. Eventually, people stop feeling sorry for you and start asking why you're the common denominator in every single conflict in your life.
Prince Harry really seems fired up about is this incident where he allegedly punches Prince Andrew at a family gathering because he overhears something Prince Andrew said behind his back. This is unrelated to Meghan Markle, and I think that I've seen that get mixed up a couple of times.
Yes, it has. That's one of the problems. That people have confused the two dates.
Before we wrap up, I need to mention one more thing. It's a bit of a rabbit hole, but stay with me. You mentioned Andrew Lowney. He's another biographer, a serious one. He's currently working on a book about Prince Andrew. Now, why does that matter for Meghan? Because the circles overlap. We know that Prince Andrew was, let's say, entangled in the world of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. We know that world was full of social fixers and young women looking for a way up. There have been persistent rumors, and Lowney is apparently looking into them, about the connections between the Soho House crowd and the York family, Eugenie and Beatrice. Remember, Eugenie was the one royal Meghan actually knew before Harry. They go way back. If Lowney and Bauer are comparing notes, we might see a bridging of these two scandals.
The global membership ambassador for Soho House, because he's very tight with Eugenie and the York. He's very influential. He's the best friend of Meghan Markle. He goes with her everywhere.
Was Marcus Anderson connected to that darker social scene? Did Meghan cross paths with Andrew in her yachting days? I'm not saying she was involved in the Epstein crimes. Let's be very clear about that. But if she was in the same rooms, if she was partying on the same boats, it paints a picture of a woman who was swimming in very murky waters long before she put on a tiara. The palace knows this. It's one of the reasons they were so nervous about her. They knew she had a past. They knew she had skeletons that weren't just about bad breakups, but about bad associations. If Bauer pulls this thread, he's not just exposing Meghan, he's exposing the dirty underbelly of the entire social elite that she desperately wanted to join.
I've really tried to distance myself from all of it.
Wow.
And that has challenges too. It does. You know, I'm oblivious to a lot of things.
Woof.
But that allows me to live my life really authentically, make choices authentically.
What?
Meghan, off.
So what happens when this book drops? Meghan will lawyer up. She always does. There will be cease and desist letters. There will be friends leaking denials to People magazine. There will probably be a tearful interview where she claims Bauer is obsessed with her. But I don't think it will work this time. The audience has moved on. The credibility is gone. And frankly, the money is running out.
Harry has a problem because he's lost his charity centre Bailey in Africa. He's better up, and all these commercial deals are declining. I think that his reputation is somewhat toxic, and I think Invictus is his only lifeline, and there'll be problems with that too.
Tom Bauer is 77 years old. He's rich. He's successful. He doesn't care if he gets sued. In fact, he'd probably love it. A lawsuit means discovery. It means putting Meghan on the stand. It means forcing her to tell the truth under oath. And that is the one thing she cannot do. This book isn't just a biography. It's a reckoning. It's the receipts for a decade of gaslighting. If revenge was the warning shot, this is the artillery. The NDAs are dead. The loyalty is gone. And the truth? It's finally coming for Meghan Markle. Let me know in the comments. Do you think the DL rumor is real? Do you think she can survive another book? Or is this finally the end of the road for the Sussex brand? Don't forget to like and subscribe, because trust me, as soon as this book leaks, we are going to go page by page. You won't want to miss it. This is Star Spotlight. Stay tuned.